He had his gun, so he just swung it open.
I start to notice that, the atmosphere feels a little bit weird.
First thing he seen was this 6.5 foot tall, broad shoulder, dark hair. That freaked him out.
We hadn't talked to her about like life and death and what any of that means. She's 3 years old,
So we turned around. Suddenly there's a whole tree falling across the road.
And she was describing to us that, there was a deceased person that she could see visually.
You're listening to Cryptid Clues, where we tackle the ever-expanding history and mystery of monsters and supernatural madness every Monday. You can find us at CryptidClues.ca for more information, or even check out exclusive content and support us at patreon.com/CryptidClues. Hello everybody, and welcome to Cryptid Clues. I'm your host Reuben, joined by your other also host Taylor. Today's episode will hopefully not be super poopy, because Taylor is going to talk about some cryptid excrement. Taylor, why are we talking about poop in today's episode?
Well, that's a very good question. Poop it's just a key ingredient when it comes to...
Ingredient?
Exactly.
No!
Hear me out.
We were just talking about cooking shows before we started, and now he used the word ingredient, and I can't get it out of my head.
Oh, it's... when it comes to examining animals and a little bit of history, whether it's fossilized poop or just fresh off the ground, poop, though, its scientifically correct name, scat, it's just one of the most important ways that we study animals. And this is something that's been in the back of my mind that I wanted to discuss with you for a while, because when you look at cryptids and animals, there's a lot of information that could be derived from that. And we've covered so many other different avenues with cryptids and with Bigfoot and dogmen, whether it is their environments, their eating, or just a lot more of maybe the biology that's involved with them and the traits and their mannerisms. But we haven't actually talked about the poop yet. And when I was just going through the old
I wonder why we haven't talked about the poopiest side of it. This episode would make for a terrible drinking game. Every time Taylor says poop, take a shot.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be saying it a few times here.
A few. I think you've already said it several.
We'd be drunk by now. So for biologists, now scat or poop is essentially a treasure trove of information. It's a way of telling us what animals are eating, how healthy they are, and even where they've actually been, which makes sense when you think about the remains that you'd find in their fecal matter. You're going to be seeing kind of like hints of different locations that they've been, but I digress. So when we apply this to cryptids like Bigfoot, some researchers will hold poop as a crucial piece of evidence in proving its existence. So starting with some basics, different animals leave behind different kinds of poop, and each type can tell us something unique. For example, carnivores like wolves and big cats, they'll leave behind scat that's often more like mixed with fur, bones, and other undigested bits of their prey. With herbivores like deer and rabbits, you're going to find poop that's a lot more fibrous and pellet-like because of their plant-based diet. Now, this is where the size and shape of the scat can help discern more information regarding the animal that left it. So, over the years, there have been a few reports of strange poop that's been found in areas where Bigfoot sightings have occurred. Now, this scat is usually described as being larger than that of a bear, with a composition that suggests a diet of both plants and meat. And investigators now, they'll come in and they'll claim that, they found scat with unusual hairs mixed in. And these hairs are to be believed that they're from a Bigfoot. But of course, like we've discussed before, without a body or DNA evidence, these claims are just claims. There's nothing that's able to really back it. And this is something you've said many a time before on the show. Like, without that baseline genetic code that we can relate it to, we just don't know what it is. It's just going to be unknown.
Yeah, it proves there's something unknown, but without a Bigfoot side by side to take a DNA sample from and compare, in the end, it's just meaningless unknown. It's a mystery still.
It's a shame. You think the unknown factor would be enough to kind of instigate a little bit more support of the community to kind of push forward a little bit more on that. Because okay, you find poop, there's hair in it, you send it off, gets the test done, it comes back, hey, we don't know what the heck this is. Well, then what is the what's the go-to then? What's the scientist that analyzed it going to suggest? Like, there must be a recommendation, right, or a suggestion of what it could be.
So long as you don't tell them in advance you think it's Bigfoot poop, otherwise they're going to say you're full of crap.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If we take a step back, now looking at this more scientifically, cryptozoologists, now they'll study these mysterious creatures that, of course, currently have not been proven their existence. And through their studies, now these cryptozoologists will rely on indirect pieces of evidence like poop, footprints, and eyewitness testimonies. Now, the mainstream scientific community is, of course, skeptical regarding cryptids' existence, obviously. But like we said before, while we could still present that side with like physical poop, you could have that, but they don't have, like I said,
Every
the
time
point
you
of
say
origin.
poop, I'm sorry, it's so funny you emphasize it.
It's an important word in today's episode.
It is, it's not the most important word, but it's a solid number 2.
Oh, so I mean, when you look at poop in general now, and people are isolating, oh yeah, this could be Bigfoot because it's in areas that are associated with Bigfoot. It's also a factor that, hey, what if it's Dogman? Now, there's a whole rabbit hole, and I'm gonna leave Dogman to the side. We can do a Dogman poop designated episode in the future sometime, but this is mostly aimed at Bigfoot. So when we did our interview with Ron Moorhead, and we were talking about the quantum realm and how he alluded to the fact that, okay, when these things are here, they are subject to our dimension's laws, and they have to comply with that. So while they're here, I think that comes into factor. Okay, now the things that they eat and the things that they leave behind, that's possible evidence. But for the most part, who knows what it's like wherever they go back to where they're from, if that is indeed the truth of it. If they go back to the quantum realm, what kind of laws are having to be abided by there in that kind of what's the word, realm, that kind of place.
It opens up so much for possibilities. It's up to your imagination. I mean, for all we know, there's not even a theory. This is just me joking around. But anything in a quantum realm, maybe they don't poop. Maybe energy just leaves their body because they're in some magical form. Who knows? I would be super surprised if I found out. I would look flushed. That was another poop pun.
A lot of poop is fossilized out there, and lots of it that's like millions and millions of years ago. And I believe even some really old human poop has been found too. I think I was reading an article about a Viking poop that they found, and it was just, they analyzed it. And it was like, okay, this guy had a lot of parasites in him, and he was eating a lot of meat in his diet. It was not his best life. It was probably very discomforting, but it would be interesting to know a little bit more on how expanded they could go, because if you're sending in this unknown poop and you have scientists that are looking into it and they just send it back to you saying, hey, this is unknown, we don't know anything about what this creature is.
That's
exciting. Would be nice. It's exciting, but it would also be nice to know a little bit more about, okay, well, what can you tell me about the diet? What can you tell me about what has been, can you tell me more about like the location, like where this remains? Like, it was kind of like what I was talking about earlier in terms of, okay, we can discern what this thing is eating and where this thing has traveled based on its poop examination.
Have you seen the Sasquatch feces from Dr. Matthew Johnson?
I'm about to right now. Tell me about
Southern Oregon, 2016. It is a long, straight poop. So long. But yeah, it's a poop sample. It's in some Bigfoot museum somewhere now. But it's super huge.
I don't see a photo. I see a guy with his hands, like his left and right hand, like emphasizing there's something that's really long.
Oh, I'll share it to you right now while we're recording so you can see it.
Oh, I think I found it. I will have to Yeah, I think I did find it. I'll have to.
It's a 36-inch specimen.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you're watching the YouTube version, I will have this plastered there so you can see it in all of its glory. My goodness.
We'll get taken down from YouTube. Why are you guys showing a 36-inch poop?
Yeah.
Feces is the correct term. We have to start using the word feces, not scatter poop.
And so what prompted him to turn this in as a Sasquatch poop?
Either he was real constipated in the woods and wanted to bring something home, or he stumbled across the world's weirdest poop and was like, you know what? I don't know what could have pooped this, but it's nothing I know. So he must have, I don't know how you pick that up properly and transport it.
I don't know either. So yeah, this 36-inch specimen was collected by researcher Dr. Matthew Johnson, Team Sasquatch in USA, in his Southern Oregon interaction area in 2016. It was found on a logging road, steaming warm to the touch, between two 26-inch tracks left by a Sasquatch he calls Zorth. Now, Dr. Johnson estimates Zorth stands 10 feet tall and has been observed by multiple witnesses invited to his site. You can follow his research on Facebook, on his YouTube channel, and read about his... I can't see that word. Discovery, sorry, in his book, Bigfoot, a 50-year journey come full circle. Well, that's
Zorth butt cheeks hurts. Zorth sore.
Southern Oregon, 2016. As he said, he found it like fresh, like ready to go right there. But this, I've never seen anything like this. And
Fresh from the oven.
Literally fresh from the oven. Poop is one of those things where I feel like you can have an affinity for noticing it. Now,
don't use the word affinity.
Ingredient affinity. As you know, we're all animals, and waste is just one of the ways of communication in the animal kingdom. It's a way of like displaying territory and whatnot. But like urination is definitely a key one for that amongst many different animals out there. And so,
if you ever try to communicate with poop, Taylor, it's a waste of your time and you're in trouble. There we go. There was a poop and a pee joke right there.
That was brilliant. So do these creatures, do you think they're leaving their poop behind because they are trying to, I guess, discern like, hey, this is my territory and I need to lay claim to it, and this is them laying claim? What do you think about that?
You know, bear scat's pretty common. I feel like we don't have a ton of samples of Bigfoot or so-called Bigfoot poop. If anything, they probably bury their poop. They seem to be pretty intelligent. I think it's pretty rare to find it. Zorth must have been in a lot of pain considering his sample has photographs and was actually collected. Other samples are probably just little accidents or something that was like quickly left behind because it didn't have time to dig a hole.
Mm-hmm. And then it would probably just, you wouldn't notice it. It could rain. I mean, the Pacific Northwest is so damp and like humid that anything that you were to leave behind, I mean, it wouldn't last for long.
If they have pet dogmen following them around, they're probably just like our dogs, and they'll just gobble that up.
Yeah, where they got little bags that they carry when the dog man.
Little doggy bags.
Yeah. So where I was alluding to before, where we're all animals, and I know with myself when I'm walking around, I feel like I have this extra awareness. I'm not bragging about myself with this, but you just, you see it or you smell it and you latch onto it. As soon as you get that whiff of it, it's like, okay, maybe this is something that kind of hits you more as a parent. And you probably would know this too. When you smell it, you instantly react to it. Or when you're walking outside, like I'm always kind of looking and paying attention to where my feet are going, and I will lock on to poop right away. And when I see it, it's like, okay, everyone, like watch out. Do you not do that?
Yeah, I don't like stepping in poop. That's not something I enjoy, so I do keep an eye out for it. Now, obviously, having a child, I'm very aware of when there's a poop smell. Having customers with various poop scenarios, I'm also very aware of that too, I gotta say. And, you cut out there for me, Taylor. Am I coming through okay?
Oh, yeah, you're fine. You're still with me.
I don't think that's a natural thing. I don't think being a parent really improved it that much. But I mean, that'd be pretty poopy otherwise. Starting to reuse these puns. Oh no.
There's not a lot of reports that come in where people are talking about the excrement. Like when people go out into the woods and they're having their Sasquatch encounters, the encounters are usually they hear noises like they'll hear the tree knocks, they'll hear the steps, they'll hear all of that. And when they go out to investigate the next day, and so many of these reports when they go camping, they usually only find the prints. And again, the weird thing too is, hey, it's only a couple of prints and the prints just disappear. Now, when we were talking with Ron Moorhead, he was elaborating on how when they are here, like I said, they're subject to the rules of our realm. And so when they have smaller Bigfoot and offspring, then it's a whole nother can of worms because, okay, they have to wait for them to get old enough so that they can teach them and guide them to show them how to drift between ours and their quantum realm back and forth. And that concept, I find it really, really intriguing. And so, again, you'd have to think, okay, well, if these things are going around leaving a bunch of excrement, what you said, digging holes, hiding it, it definitely lines up.
Well, as a parent, too, I'm sure Bigfoots would bury their children's poop, and also tiny Bigfoot would have smaller poop, so if it was left behind, it would ultimately go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But when you look at different types of poop, I mean, I got this huge 36-inch one still just on my screen. When you look at it, it's not like anything else I have seen. Like bear poo it's pretty recognizable. And when we were talking about herbivore poop, like the pellets, again, very recognizable. So different types are, I mean, it's what hunters are using, right? They're out in the bush, they're hunting, and they look at the scat, and they're like, okay, well, I know what this is. I can identify that. Look at the tracks. Look at all the different pieces of evidence to track what they're hunting. And when you just look at something like this, like, it looks like it could be mud. I want to say it's fake, but obviously if it's in this museum, there is probably some degree of mysterious and unknown genetics that are attached to it because it had to have been tested. I wish I had looked more into
I would
this.
imagine a hunter out in the woods, if they found like a smaller Bigfoot's poop, they would just go, that's probably a human. Someone had poop in the woods. Maybe it was the Pope, like who knows?
Well, I mean, the similarities are definitely close in terms of how it's shaped. And I think the interesting thing is like, I personally know a lot about poop? No, but this looks like it's, well, no, because even then that wouldn't necessarily make sense. I was gonna say like poop kind of takes on the shape of like going through like your intestines almost, right? But I'm not a scientist. I don't know enough about poop to really make an official stamp like, hey, this is why poop looks like it, how it
Oh
looks.
my gosh, I think we've said poop like 8 times in the past minute.
How many shots have you done so far?
A 0 because I don't drink. But when you told me that today's episode is about poop, I was walking around at work and noticed we sell the Scattergories board game, and I can never look at the word Scattergories the same again.
Oh, well, you think of this episode every time you look at it now when you're at work. That's hilarious.
A little scatterbrained.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring this poop to people's attention, and I'm glad that I'm glad that we were able to kind of briefly discuss this because I think there's a lot of mystery that still surrounds this, and this is one of the key pieces of evidence. And a lot of people don't think about that. Most people are thinking, oh, Bigfoot, it's the footprints, it's the sightings, and maybe what you hear in the woods, but hearing things you could misidentify what that is. We've done an episode regarding that where you're listening to the animal sounds, you're trying to guess what they were, and at the end of the day, I think it's a good reminder that, hey, while these things are here, they are subject to leaving remains just like we are, just like every animal is out in the woods. But there's that level of intelligence that remains on how to deal with it. Humans know to have toilets and have waste management. Well, if these things are as smart or smarter than we are, then I definitely agree with you and wouldn't put it past them to be hiding it or burying it. And that could just be not even out of a sense of, hey, we need to be undiscovered here, but it could be just a form of hygiene. These things do reportedly stink, and a lot of them smell like that rotten eggs and sulfur people will talk about with their sightings. But, well, and maybe that kind of does discredit the idea, like, hey, they are aware and cognitive of their hygiene, but maybe there is still something there that they think, oh, we gotta bury this and like keep it.
Poop is
away.
a different factor, though. I mean, smelling bad, skunks smell bad, but they don't poop all over themselves. They know that's dirty.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Now, again, this is a piece of the puzzle. Ultimately, it seems to be fact that there are samples of unknown poop highly related to Bigfoot and Bigfoot hotspots. We have hair samples. We have unknown DNA samples that match other unknown DNA samples from other Bigfoot hotspots. We have not only eyewitness sightings and testimonies from police reports and stuff like that, but we also have poop. We have everything short of a Bigfoot body, and that's ultimately what it comes back down to. All of this is never going to prove anything until we have, unfortunately, a dead or alive Bigfoot in captivity.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Especially in the world of AI video and photos, it's just expanded so much in the past several months. Like a few months ago, it was possible to look at something and go, hey, that's AI generated. Now it's like I look at the Bigfoot community posts or something like that, and it's like so many people are posting so-called trail cam photos from way back when, and everyone just goes at it and goes, yeah, but we never saw it way back when, so this has to be AI. You could do the same thing with poop samples and museum things now. Like these posts, reports of Bigfoot poop, these findings exist. We've had them for forever, but anything new coming forward is so difficult to establish at our level. Unless we go out ourselves and actually go collect a sample. I mean, who knows?
And there's a lot of people that are still doing that, which is good, but you're absolutely right. It's not going to be good for the community and the teams that are out there, just individuals like us that are trying to research and do our own due diligence and research more of these things and these mysteries, because when you look at, like you said, the AI factor, it is truly brutal, and AI is going to really discredit a lot more when it comes to cryptids. And ultimately, maybe AI is like the best thing that could ever happen to Bigfoot when you think about it. It's like the perfect kind of cover. And they didn't even do anything. We did it to ourselves.
Yeah. And I mean, Bigfoot probably goes through many states with his poop. I'm sure he's constipated, but all these jokes are pretty hard to pass, so kind of stinks. I'm sorry. I was going to sit down, but I think this stool was taken.
I know that this was like on the spot, but I just am blown away that you're able to just whip these out of thin air, all these crazy puns when it comes to this main topic of poop.
I know, and the poop puns I forget just as fast. It's easy to wipe them away.
Jesus. That's all of my notes. I got nothing left. Was there anything else you wanted to add in closing for this episode?
No, I think with the poop episode, it's time to wipe the slate clean.
Double down on the wipe one. I like that.
Yeah, we were able to keep ourselves toned down. The potty mouth wasn't too bad. And maybe this topic will get out there and we'll get a movement moving.
Oh, we gotta end this. This is getting crazy. We're getting out of hand.
I know,
now.
I'm just dumping jokes all over you.
Oh, Jesus. But this is a good awareness. I'm glad that we had this discussion. I know I've really wanted to talk to you about this. I just thought, okay, this will be a lot of fun. But yeah, this is just another key piece of the puzzle here for individuals, and hopefully this has brought some awareness, because most people, like I said, you don't think about it. There's so many other things that are more prominent when it comes to Bigfoot sightings and just cryptids in general, but all of these mysterious creatures that are out there, they have to be subject in some shape or form to eating, living, and procreating, and obviously leaving fecal matter behind. So
yeah,
with that, that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you can find us on our social media channels, X, YouTube, and Facebook, Patreon. You can find us on our website, CryptidClues.ca. And if you want to reach out, say hi, you can do so at CryptidClues@gmail.com. So until next time, everyone, take care and stay safe.
Bye-bye.